Hey, what's up, you guys? My name is Maya. Wow, who am I? I'm a books. Kind of coming for a brand. Hey, it's Maya. Today we're gonna be doing my May wrap up. All the books that I read in May. Cannot lie to you, I'm a little bit behind on my reading goal. I'm very behind on my reading goal. I am going to try to make videos actually this time. And I feel like a good soft way of starting would be to talk about all the books that I read this month. I didn't actually read that many, so it'll be pretty easy. You know, it'll be pretty simple. We're just gonna run through them. We're just gonna have a great time. It's gonna be so chill. Woo-wee! I need to stop saying woo-wee, mama. That's really not a good phrase. The past 6 months have been really difficult for me. Mental health wise, physical health wise, time wise, in all of the wises, I've been in a terrible situation. So I'm just recently getting back into reading. Let's just get into it. The first book that I read this month, I told myself that I was gonna participate in the Asian Readathon, and I had this whole TBR that I was gonna follow, and then I didn't follow it. I only read like 3 books on the TBR, which is not bad. That's like 3 out of the 5 books that I read this month, but whatever. The first book that I read was The Gilded Wolves by Roshni Chokshi. I've wanted to read this book ever since I heard what it was. I'm gonna talk about this book a little bit more in another video that I have planned out, but you should know that I gave this book 3 stars. It is very similar to Six of Crows. The downfall of this book is not that it's similar to Six of Crows. The downfall of this book is that it was just trying so hard, you know? I just think there was a little bit too much going on. The author was trying really hard to be a bajillion things at once, and so everything felt like done in a meh manner instead of, you know, the author focusing on one aspect of the story that she could make amazing. I don't usually hate names. I'm usually a person that's like cool with names. Like, you can have a weird name if you want, that doesn't matter, but one of the characters' name was Severin, and I was like, I can't read your name because it sounds like Severus Snape, and I hate that man. Anyway, I went off my tangent. Severin doesn't have any skills. Like, I don't know what he's good at. You know, it's very like Six of Crows where every person in the gang has their like select skills, and I could not tell you what the main guy's skills were. He wasn't that clever. He was basically just like the manager, but that's like really not cool. Oh yeah, what's your job in the game? I'm actually the manager. I keep track of everyone. I make sure that everyone's on time. I will say I so appreciated the riddles and how they were being solved. Like, some of the riddles were so well thought out. It was a terrible era. There was a lot of oppression, a lot of horrible things going on in the country, in France, but it's still France, and I'm French, and so it was like meant to be, you know. It was like Six of Crows meeting my favorite setting, and I haven't read actually the Da Vinci Code yet, so oops. So, like, I was really expecting to like this one, but maybe I was going in with too high of expectations. The next book that I read is something that I feel like I should have read a bajillion years ago and somehow didn't get it, and it's Carry On by Rainbow Rowell. Oh my god, this was so much fun. If you were to package fun into a box, this would be the box. This has been sitting on my shelf since it came out in, like, what was it, 2014? 2015? I read Fangirl back in 2013 when it was like the rage, and I didn't get it because I was in middle school when I read it, and it's a book meant for college students. So I really missed the mark on that one. And I think that's why it turned me off of this, but this book is freaking fantastic. I finished the book and then went back to like select parts that I really, really enjoyed and that were really freaking cute and really like clever. And the reason I gave it 4 stars is just because like the first time I read it, I was like skim reading a lot because there were some parts I was like, I don't really care about this part of the plot. And obviously in retrospect, those parts are kind of important because they set up the ending, but the ending was still fine, and even though I skim read those parts, maybe I'm kind of glad that I read it now because I don't have to wait long for Wayward Son. I have to wait like a couple months. Some people have had to wait for 4 years, so who's the real winner? If you don't know what Carry On is, which I'm sure you do at this point, it's Rainbow Rowell's take on the Chosen One trope, and it's like very, very similar to Harry Potter to the point like it's obviously a Harry Potter fan fiction. I was reading some of the reviews, and someone really had the audacity to be like, this is a little bit too much like Harry Potter. Yeah, that's the point. Good job. You figured it out. You're a genius. Oh my god, I loved the way the magic system worked in this book. It is so clever. It is so much fun. The next book that I read was Again But Better by Christine Riccio. I gave this a 2.5 stars on Goodreads. This was actually my second reread in May. I read it for the first time in the ARC format, which is basically the same as this book, back in like February or March, I think. I was gonna make a review, as you can see, but I decided against it just because my opinion's already out there. I don't really need to add fuel to the fire, and I don't really want to. I think Again But Better had so much potential, and I think there were moments where I really liked where Christine Riccio was going with this. A lot of people didn't like how similar Again But Better was to Christine's life, especially the first part, because it's split into two parts. They complained that it's like the same jokes that she had in her life, and that it was the same people in her life, and it was the same place, and it was like, for me, I actually really liked that. I thought it was really endearing. It rewards the people that have been with Christine for such a long time and have been a fan for such a long time, and I really enjoyed that part. I thought it was really cute and really nice. What I didn't really vibe with was the voice of the character. I thought it was a little bit childish because it is very similar to Christine's voice. It's not to say that Christine's voice is very childish, but I don't think it translates well on the page. The main character, it just makes some stupid decisions a lot of the time. And also the main character is just a little bit, I feel, unrealistic. Like the second part starts off and I am baffled. And there is a magical element to this book, and I really thought it was amazing. Some people said that it wasn't set up correctly and that Christine didn't explain the magic system. It's supposed to be a rom-com. Like, her job is not to explain how the magic works. Her job is just to present you with a story like that. But personally, I feel like this is a book that I feel will translate better onto the movie. And you know what? That's totally fine. I really, really disliked To All the Boys I Loved Before, and I absolutely love the movie. So I don't think I hate the story. I think the message is good. I love that the character in the end values herself over other things. There are just some flaws. I still do think that you need to pick this book up just to support the booktube community, because when you support Christine, you're supporting the booktube community. The next book that I read, I actually read this book throughout the entire month of May, and it's the book that I had to read during my English class, and it's 1,000 Splendid Suns by Khaled Hosseini. I read it once, and then I had to reread it for the final when I was prepping for my essay and stuff. I gave it 4 stars. It's a fantastic read. This is the story of 2 women as they kindle a friendship throughout Afghanistan's history. It starts in the 1960s and ends in the early 2000s, and you follow these 2 women in their paths. It's an incredible story about, the patriarchy in Afghanistan and how women are really at a disadvantage, especially during wartime. It's a discussion of imperialism, it's a discussion of feminism, it's a discussion of family and life and sacrifice and hope. Though it has a sort of interesting ending, it's really, really depressing, and it just keeps getting depressing. Like, you read the first chapter and you're like, oh, this is sad, and then you keep reading and you're like, oh my gosh, we're not even, like, that was nothing. The saddest part is that this happens, though it is fiction. I think this book impacted me a lot more than any of the other books that I read this year in English class, and I read like 1984 and The Handmaid's Tale, and for some reason it's this book that really hit me. I knew a little bit about Afghanistan's history, but you learn it in a completely different lens and kind of have a new appreciation, or not appreciation, but a new understanding of what it really means. I will say rereading it didn't have like a wow, everything connects in that way. The main antagonist of this story, I feel, is what really brought this book down, is that the main antagonist is not nuanced in any way. It's like big bad. The next book that I read is something that is all over BookTube, and I don't want to spend a bajillion years on it, so we're gonna go quick. It was Red, White, and Royal Blue. I gave this book 4 stars. I was anticipating this book for a while, and I heard that it was a good time, and it was. I've been struggling with contemporaries this year, and this really pulled it back for me. And although I will say this is new adult, and it behaves as a new adult, there is a lot of sex in here, and I'm personally not super into sex. But I didn't bump it down because of that, because it's new adult and I should have expected it. I just keep forgetting how much sex there is in new adult. My problem with this book, and it's a problem that I have with a lot of new adult books, is the fact that the moment the characters start having sex and pass that threshold in their relationship, they don't ever have other moments. Like in this book specifically, I really felt that the moment they started having sex, they were having sex in every scene. My favorite part of this book was the first part because they were actually talking to each other and having funny banter and interesting conversations. And then when they passed that barrier, it was like sex and then, oh no, we need to hug each other. And am I spoiling? The first son of the United States and the Prince of England get together. It's like kind of a like hate to love relationship, and it's a good time. And it's about them, you know, navigating the relationship and simultaneously being in the spotlight. People have a weird obsession with the royal family. I don't know why. This is something I don't understand. Why is England so obsessed with their royal family? They pay taxes to their royal family. The royal family does literally nothing. We in the United States have corruption, which is basically the same thing because it takes our money and it does nothing with it. But at least it's illegal. Also, I just get uncomfortable with a lot of sex. Maybe that's just me being a prude. No sex here. That's not to say that I like booktubers that talk about it. Like, one of my favorite booktubers right now is Chandler Ainsley, and that's all she talks about. So, you know what? You guys go off. I will be here supporting you guys on the sidelines. I'll pick up one of these occasionally. But, yeah. Okay, and the final book that I read this month was I Am Malala by Malala Yousafzai. This was a disappointment. I guess I was expecting her story and how she became so prevalent before she got shot. What I got was a sort of history of Pakistan, history of her dad, and then she was just kind of there in the narrative. And I don't know, like, as much as I love her father, and I know that her father is like a huge reason as to why she's so influential today, it was really about her father, and then she's like there. I wanted to know, like, how did she develop these relationships so she could become so influential? And if instead it was just her telling us, like, and then I talked to CNN. And it's like, well, I want to know that. I'd rather know that than some of the other information. I mean, like, the book was fantastic, don't get me wrong, but I gave it 3 stars just because it wasn't exactly what I expected. It was like weird because sometimes it was like really not about her, and then sometimes it was just literally her bragging, and I know that's what your book is supposed to be. It's you bragging, and she has 100% the rights to brag, but I feel like I wanted insights almost, you know, about this incredibly powerful, like, I have so much respect for Malala, and her story is like the most inspiring story. I can only hope to be a quarter of what she is. But still, like, I want to know more about the intricate details. Maybe it's the Slytherin in me that's like, tell me your ambition, tell me your plan. Don't get me wrong, I loved learning actually about Pakistan's history, although I knew a little bit about it. But it was a little bit more just her telling us about the history, and then her like coming back and be like, oh, by the way, I'm in this part of the history. I still think it's a book that you need to pick up. Greta Thunberg and Emma Gonzalez better drop their books so I can start reading more books about influential girls and we can support each other. I was just scrolling around on Waterstone's website when I saw a book published by Greta Thunberg. I'm very impressed that Penguin Random's House got onto that money so quick, but turns out she already published a book. So did Emma Gonzalez. So guess who's putting those on her TBR? Those were all the books that I read in the month of May. I have not read a book yet in the month of June, and it's the 7th. That's a late flex, but thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Let me know what you read this month, what you thought about some of the books that I talked about today. I'll see you next time. I'm gonna probably do a 6 of Crows video next about all the information that we know about the TV show, because we're in the calm before the storm, baby. I know we're gonna get news soon and it's gonna be awesome. Have a great rest of your day. I'm Maya. Peace.